What's up and welcome back. I'm John Stark, MacMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and today I wore my Punisher shirt because somebody told me that we were going to get these people back before the end of the season, and it hasn't happened yet. So your move, Disney, your move. This is Daredevil Born Again, Season 1, Episode 8. There's one more episode, and we've only seen Frank Castle once. Supposedly, the rumors are that we'll be seeing some other Daredevil people in the course correction. One of you jumped in and was like, "Oh, by the way, it's a total change, starting at episode 7." I haven't felt that, and definitely we didn't get like Frank and everybody back at episode 7. Like, holy shit, guys, we're sorry about those first 6 episodes. Here we go. Um, so, I other than the Punisher shirt, I have my black sunglasses and purple hat on backwards. And this show obviously has audio description still. They didn't remove it, which is good because Disney is. I noticed that the Goofy movie documentary doesn't have audio description for some reason, which is bizarre. Come celebrate a Goofy movie. Well, some of you come celebrate a Goofy movie. Just not the blind people. They don't have to celebrate with us. Anyway, Daredevil. It's an interesting episode. I actually really like this episode because it moves us closer towards something. Like I could feel the end of the season coming. It's closer. Bullseye's in jail, and he's like, "I don't belong here," and he's been asking for Matt, to come in, and Matt's like, "Well, I don't want to talk to this guy." So, Matt also deals with the fact that he has Heather, who continues to evolve her rather negative viewpoint on vigilantes. She had a comment here that really kind of pissed me off. She's like, "Daredevil didn't save me. I saved me." And I was like, "No, bitch, you were dying on the floor." Like, do you not remember that part? I remember that part. Like, if Daredevil had never shown up, you definitely were not going to save yourself. I mean, you tried. There was a valiant effort. Heather made an absolutely valiant effort to save herself at the very beginning of that fight scene. But she was also, like, bleeding out on the floor. Yes, she stood up at the end and pulled the trigger because Daredevil was fighting Bullseye and fighting Muse, and and like drew his attention away. But she had also already, like, Muse had already like started to work on her. So I don't that whole "I saved myself," like Daredevil was completely useless in that moment, is just sort of like it colors who she is as a character, as the well, I'm just not a fan of vigilantes no matter what. Even if Matt Murdock were to tell me he was Daredevil, I'd still be mad at him for it. I'm not gonna be like, "Oh my god, it was you? You saved me?" This isn't like one of those um one of those moments, uh Kiss from a Rose from Batman Forever, where it seems like romantic, where Batman swoops in to save Nicole Kidman, and it's like, oh wow. And she's clearly like swept off her feet, and her whole worldview on this kind of thing has been changed. Um, no, this is somebody who was saved by a vigilante and still thinks vigilantes are dumb. They're just boys do dumb things. Well, she's invited to Kingpin's gala. Kingpin is still working some stuff out with Vanessa, uh, and they're throwing a party, and he's still exerting his influence, and this is still looking a lot like things currently happening in the world. And Kingpin and Vanessa have an interesting dynamic, and also his little sidekick. Kingpin ends up promoting um, uh, Tony Soprano Jr. to communications chief. In case you didn't get that reference and you didn't know who that character was played by, it's played by Michael Gandolfini, who is James's son. Um, and Blake ends up getting promoted to deputy director, communications director, or something like that. So he gets a job promotion for um, all of his hard work that he's been doing. Basically, he is a giant kiss ass, and Kingpin moves him up through the organization, much to the surprise of his chief of staff, the one that actually works the mayor's office side of things, who is not really involved at all in anything that Kingpin actually does. But Kingpin does take Vanessa down and shows her Adam and is like, you asked me not to kill him, and I did not. He's right here. And Vanessa ends up killing him in a scene that seems utterly pointless, because it could have ended with Kingpin, this scene where Kingpin beat the ever-loving crap out of Adam. That could have ended Adam. Apparently it didn't, and Adam is just like in his cell going like, I'm so sorry. So it looks like Vanessa's trying to, at the beginning of that, like plead for, she's like, well, he's not one of us, like no, she just eventually, this is her way of showing that she's committed to Kingpin, I guess, and or they're committed to each other. I don't know. Anyway, pick one. Is she committed to him is the question that I think the whole thing leaves us with, is she committed to Kingpin? Question at the end of the episode. So Matt, on the other hand, after having this weird conversation with Heather about how she doesn't understand the dangers of being under Kingpin's thumb, and her reminding him that, well, he can come. Her invite says, and guest. a guest. So if he's so worried, why didn't he come? So Matt goes back to the bar from the first episode, and I guess they're thinking about reopening or whatever, and Matt's there and he's talking to the owner, and Cherry comes in, and Matt has sort of like an awakening after the bartender remarks that she remembers Foggy's last drink, and it was a celebratory drink, this expensive thing that Matt had talked about, how he and Foggy used to drink this thing after they won a case. They had this very expensive, if you've seen the whole season, you know the scene that I'm talking about, where he talks about having a drink after they bought this one expensive bottle. It took him a while to finish it or whatever, for their winning cases. And Foggy was already drinking, realizing Matt was like, he knew he was going to win. Like, he knew whatever he had, he knew he was going to win. So somebody had Foggy killed. It wasn't just mayhem, it wasn't just a crazy guy and with Foggy caught in the crossfire. And I was like, wait a minute, you thought that whole time that was just a random, that Bullseye just went nuts and just walked through a bar and just did like a mass shooting for no reason whatsoever other than just to do one? Really? You didn't realize? Because I kind of thought from the very beginning it was obvious who the target was. Matt catching up in episode 8 was not a great moment for the series. I thought he was operating off that notion the whole time. I didn't realize that he needed the awakening, but apparently he did, which meant he thought Kingpin had him killed. Who benefited the most from Foggy's death, he believes, is Kingpin. So he goes to the gala to confront Kingpin. And it leads to us also finding out, because he also goes and he confronts Bullseye to try to validate the Kingpin thing that Bullseye wants. out. Like he wants Matt to get him out, and Matt's like, no, I'm not getting you out. So Bullseye gets himself out, and so Bullseye's loose, and it all culminates at this party where you can feel the different couples and the tension on the floor, and meanwhile Kingpin is like working things behind the scenes, bringing people into another room and getting them to commit to, these people that didn't realize how dangerous he was are now starting to realize, like, oh yeah, we should absolutely commit to and be on the right side of things. It ends with Bullseye showing up, and Matt and Heather are on the dance floor, Kingpin and Vanessa are on the dance floor, and they swap partners, and Matt comes to the realization that it wasn't Kingpin who hired Bullseye, it was Vanessa. So he tells Vanessa straight up, like, it was you. Why did you hire Bullseye? And at that moment, Bullseye's there. Up top, he's already taken out like a guard, and he's ready to take his shot. For somebody, by the way, who can just throw random objects at people across the room, it's weird that Bullseye needs to set up a shot with a scope. I mean, his skill set is literally, I can take a tooth out of my mouth and kill someone with it. So you would think he would have just thrown, like, I don't know, some random object or something at Kingpin from afar, and nobody would have heard the gunshot. Or, like, what does he even need guns? Can't he just walk around with, like, safety pins? Tacks? Nails? I don't know. Like a box of nails and just throw them at people? So yeah, it's but he goes to the trouble of setting up the shot, and he pulls trigger, but the shot was a Kingpin. It wasn't at Matt, it wasn't Vanessa, it wasn't Heather, it was at Kingpin. And Matt hears the clicking of the gun with his supersonic hearing, which comes in handy at certain points. It's like he can hear conversations in other rooms, but he can't hear Bullseye take out a guard. It's so weird what he can hear and what he can't hear. I thought that in the Muse, when he fought Muse for the first time, and then he goes in and he's still in Muse's den, and there's a cop right around the corner. And I'm like, didn't we just see the bank episode where he's like halfway down the street and he can hear the bank being robbed, but like he can't hear the cop that's around the corner? Like, does it work sometimes? Does it need recharging? How does his... I know people are like, we really love the show, we want you to love the show too. And it's like, I want to love the show too, but Jesus on the writing. Like, if you... we have to start making things make sense. There has to be some sort of consistency with Daredevil's hearing. Either he can hear things from blocks away, or he can't. And if he can't hear things from blocks away, then he should be able to hear, why did he hear finally, like, the clicking of the rifle? Why was that the thing? But yeah, he was listening to full conversations that Kingpin was having in another room. It's very weird. So, yeah, I would think it leads up to this dramatic moment that allows Matt to jump in front of Kingpin and take the bullet instead. So we end the episode with Matt, who's just taken a bullet for Kingpin, dying on the floor. Obviously he's not going to die because there's literally a second season that's already filmed of this. So, as insane as it would be, I would kind of love for there to be an entire season of Daredevil Born Again without Daredevil in it. Just the cast of Daredevil talking about, like, oh man, I can't believe he's dead. Wow. This is a really weird show now. So I'm sure we'll figure out a way to save Matt from the wound. Or it'll be one of those things where he, like, pulls out the Bible that just took the... oh, guys, luckily I was carrying my Bible. So, yeah, it's that's Daredevil. We're waiting next week to see if Matt survives the shot, which we all know he's going to survive because the show would not make any sense if he died. And he will be born again. So, yeah, I guess at some point they intend on having Frank come back. But this has been a very underwhelming season for people who were looking for side characters and not just like Matt. So, but I think the episode's not, it's not the worst episode of the season. I think we're course correcting a little bit. I think still my favorite episode of the season was the bank robbery, which just sort of worked as itself, like as an episode. I think that's my favorite episode of the season. So I'm giving this a B plus. It was engaging enough. There were enough entertaining moments. And Charlie Cox was fantastic in this, by the way, the whole way through. He has so many great moments written in scenes that don't necessarily make any sense, but he makes them make sense and he makes them engaging. Like the whole scene with him remembering Foggy is inherently stupid, but at the same time, it was really interesting to watch him do it. So he's making the series work in a very good way. And there are some of this other supporting cast too that I like, but I mean, Charlie is really the selling point here. The whole reason we fought for this is because we believe that the people who were cast as the heroes were well cast from Netflix's perspective and deserve to return as the heroes. So we wanted to see more of Charlie Cox as Daredevil, more of Mike Coulter as Luke Cage, more of Kristen as Jessica Jones, and John Bernthal as the Punisher. I don't know if anybody cares about Iron Fist, but him too. So yeah, we're getting what we wanted, which is Charlie Cox's Daredevil. So that hopefully later on, Charlie Cox's Daredevil will be in other projects, not just necessarily Daredevil Born Again, but other more like MCU projects. Anyway, that's it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the other side.